This is Richard back at you guys. Hey, we're excited to be here again today. We got Mr. White's Powerglide in the house. It's an aspirated vehicle. It makes about 1,000 horsepower. Now, this tranny has not been in the vehicle. This is all new. I believe he bought this kind of like a core, but he bought it where it's supposed to have all good parts and stuff like that. He wants to get it freshened up. That way he knows what he has for the first of the season. So let's get this thing apart real quick. It looks like a really nice unit. It's got a really nice Ultra Bell SFI case. I can't tell if the tail housing is just a stock case or a roller tail housing style. We'll get it off so we'll see. Now this is a trans brake solenoid here. When you push the trans brake on the starting line, the vehicle comes to a halt. It kind of puts it in reverse and forward at the same time. And then when you push your bump button, it releases the low clutch in the back of the case, and then you bump in. And that's this solenoid being activated, pushing this spring-loaded valve right here. Bump, bump. That's basically how that works. So now we have a valve here called a modulator valve, is what we usually call it. But this is it for the trans brake. Got a spring in it. Now they put the spring in there to make it a quick release. Pushes the valve off really fast instead of it being lazy and coming off. So this does have a really nice valve body in it, I believe. Now we run the FTI valve body, aluminum billet valve body in my car too. So really nice stuff. Annie, what are you doing down there? She sticks to us pretty heavy, guys. Let me tell you, she hangs wherever we go. She's here. So we got a really nice converter here. You can see some grooving here. You can kind of feel it right here. But we can polish this up still. We'll size a new bushing to this wear, a little bit of this wear right here, and we can still use this converter with no problem. Not extreme. So fluid still looks pretty nice, really cherry red. Got a really nice billet input shaft here. Now this is a ring style. Now on the Dirty Bird we run a ringless style because anywhere this ring is machined into this shaft, it can twist it off. So we run a different style stator, and we run actually bushings in the stator for the rings instead of having rings cut into the shaft. So my shaft is just solid. So my shaft's rated like at 2,500 horsepower. This is probably 1,000 max. I mean, that's no more than that probably. So. Now we'll get over here and we're going to check our band adjustment. Now I'm going to take and kind of hold this with a speed handle, and I'm going to take this loose right here. Turn it back that way I can kind of get on it better. And I don't want this to move, that way I can screw this nut on the back of this pin here. Now I guess you could call this a band adjustment pin, is what this is called. Now we usually adjust these about 3.5 turns. Use band. What I'm doing is I'm going to screw this nut off right here, and I'm going to check his band adjustment real quick. But I want to get it back far enough where it doesn't affect it. Okay. Now we're going to see what we have here. We have 1, there's 2, there's 3, about 3.5 is all we have. Let's see, yeah, that's it. So that's pretty close. Some people do 4. Some people do less, more. I like 3.5, especially on a used band. So we'll screw this out.
Annie, come here.
Now they do make a hardened pin here, too. This could be a hardened pin. We'll pull it out and see if it looks different. They make them gold, black, all different colors. So really, really hard to say because the stock pin looks just like that. So that could be just a stock pin. So we'll get the tail housing off real quick and see what it looks like in here. We're going to pull our tail housing off here. And we're going to look down here and see if it's got a roller bearing or anything like that. This is just a stock housing. Very few people do upgrade that to a roller bearing. There's no horsepower gain. These tail housings, you don't see a lot of breakage or anything like that. You know, you're going to see more breakage in the case right through here if you're running a stock case or something. So that's why they do go to an Ultra Bell and stuff like that in a billet case. What'd I do? Thought my gun quit working. Nope. These bell housing bolts here that maintain, the bolts that hold the bell housing onto the tranny have these little lock washers on them. Real tiny looking ones. Now you notice these two big black bolts right here, they went to the bottom down here. Now they're shorter. You notice here, that way they're not run through the case through here on the bottom. These longer ones go here. But you want to make sure you pay attention to that type of stuff. Let me get our bell housing off. Now you can put a different bell housing on this for a Ford motor, Chrysler motor, Chevy motor, all the different kinds of motors. So and there we have our billet support back here in the back. Stock Powerglide will have a cast iron looking one. It'll be about this long, and some of them will have a governor back here and stuff. Now we remove the governor and stuff and block it. You can see here they added a roller bearing in this nice billet hub here to support. Now the factory one just has a bushing. The factory one holds up really good, those two. So, and then we have a little gasket here. Now this does have a billet shaft here. You can just tell by the color. We'll get in here and see why it's wobbling really bad. See if there's anything wore out even worse. But we have our band servo apply right here. This applies the band. Now they do make billet covers. They make the cast iron cover as factory. High pressure applications, you want to get away from the cast iron because they'll crack right here around the bolts and then just blow the center plumb out of it. So if you do use a cast, you can take a big washer that comes around here like this that supports the housing better, and it does work better. But you know, if you're running a high dollar car, high dollar tranny, what's $75 on buying a good cover? Now this will have a billet 2-ring servo in it too. See here, it's got 2 rings instead of 1. That stops creeping on the line and stuff like that, backing up on the line. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So Boy, that old shaft wobbles really bad right there. I hope there ain't no damage done to this thing. Yeah, it wobbles really good. I think I took my here really quick. There we go.
Okay, so what about that? Why is that like that?
Well, this would be where a shifter mounts usually.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, usually they're here and here, but his shifter could be mounting right there like that. And we have a temperature sensor here. My small impact. My little small impact I got, guys, that little thing has been working good. What did I do with him? Here he is right here. I like this guy. He's one of my favorites. So you can see all the metal we have in here. I mean, it's just full of metal.
Oh, yeah.
That's about all that is in there. It's just nothing but metal. So we don't know if it's come out of the converter, planetary failure, whatever, but we'll try to get to the bottom of it when we start taking this thing apart. So. Now these usually are brass filters. This is a stainless. They are cleanable. You'll have a gasket in between each piece. You'll have a gasket there. You'll have a gasket in there. So now this is an extension for the deep pan. And then you get over here, and you can see here's your detent for park, your spring right here and stuff that makes it click. Let me see if I can get this on there real quick. Let me do it a little different than that. See if I got a 15. I'm going to tighten it a little bit, then I can kind of make it click. There's park. And you got your reverse, your neutral, your drive, and this is being a trans brake, so it's just going to, so.
Oh, that was cool.
Yepper. Now you've noticed we got Miss Treese on the camera today. Yep. Trent's really busy out there putting some rear ends together and stuff. So what we got here is just the standard cast iron Powerglide valve body that's been converted to a trans brake application. FTI, they've come a long way on billet valve bodies and stuff, on quick release and stuff like that, and that's what I have in my unit. I mean, it's a really nice piece. But these here work really good. The cast iron ones, they're doing a lot of two-stage dump valves and all that type of stuff with them. So you can boost the turbo cars on the line and stuff so they can leave. So, but. Here's your manual valve, and you move your shifter that makes the vehicle move forwards or backwards. Then your band feed tube here. Now this shows to be a BTE valve body. Really nice company. These guys do awesome work. I've run multiple valve bodies and stuff in my cars and their parts, so they very nice stuff. And we do have a band strut here, and then we have another one right here. Let me see if I can get it out of there. This kind of went like, You got your pin coming through the case, and then this goes into there like this, and then you have your servo coming in like that, and then it connects to your band. So that's kind of how that works. And then we have our parking stuff here. And we have our spring right here that keeps it from rattling in park.
These are really pretty.
What'd you say, Teresa?
I
She said these are really simple. Man, that makes me feel... Nah, she's been around it a long time, so for her to say it, I can respect it. But let me tell you guys, it's not as easy as you think.
I mean, it's a smaller unit. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I know that setting it up right makes a difference, but
Yeah.
there's just not a lot of stuff like in the others.
Yeah. We do some really nice trannies, some really sophisticated stuff, so... Where did I put that in the wrong hole? I sure did. Kind of a shadow there, couldn't see. Now we don't have a roller bearing here. Some of them do have a roller bearing here if the pump's been machined. Normally this pump, this design would have a roller bearing here. This is an aftermarket style pump. So you would normally see that. But we're not seeing it in this one. Now this does have a hardened stator in it to keep it from breaking off. Now this should be doweled where it won't spin. Most pumps you have to line them up with a band and stuff, but this pump here should be doweled, and it is. See the dowel pins here that line everything up, make it really nice. A factory pump is not that way. Aftermarket ones will be. So this pump still looks really nice through here. Now the gear size will be different than your factory gear. We'll have to find out what size it is. Usually just upgrade to one step, but it is a different, bigger gear diameter this way and thicker. So you can see the converter was really getting deep into the gear, but also if you look here, it looks like this tranny's been in two different cars. Just the way the pump gears, or it's had two different converters in it, just by the shadow looking and stuff. So pump looks good though. Put some gears in it, really nice. So we're going to get our band out here. Now we're going to come in here and look at the tips of these bands mainly because this is where we start seeing our wear. And you can see here that the tips of the bands are totally wore off, almost down to the metal here where it'll start running grooves in your drum here. He got really lucky here because it was fixing to start happening. That's probably why the band adjustment was so tight. They seen band wear going on, somebody adjusted the band, and that's where it was. So now this is your sun gear. Now you want to come in here and look on each side here for any type of pitting because this car has really hard launches coming out of the gate. So you want to look on both sides. I can't tell if that's just dirt. I have to get my glasses on, clean it up, look for some more wear. Like I said, we miss a lot of stuff tearing them down, so once we start cleaning them up, we find a lot of stuff, guys. So we'll look in here and see how many clutch drum this has got. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. This is another reason why you don't mess with transmissions when you don't know what you're doing. Now, if you notice here, look at this steel right here. This steel is under the ledge right here.
Okay.
So this piston right here, for it to bring on high gear, it will never do it because that's up under that land. This has got to turn for that piston to come up and down. So when they did that, when that turned right there, it blocked it, never had high gear. It can't, because that piston can not push that plate against this clutch. It blocked it behind that land right there.
Wow.
See that?
Yep.
Now, it'll be hard for me to even get it out. I have to get a magnet. Let's see if I can get 2 magnets over here and get that out real quick. Something so small that they made a big mistake. Now, they got it built, put it in, and it worked a couple times. It probably never worked at all, because this thing's going to spin with the clutch. So once it fell down in here and got behind there, now we do have, let's just say, how many clutch pack we got here. Now we do have a deep hub for a 10 clutch. The thinner 7 clutch, so the hub's half this size. It's only take about this much off of it. So let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we got a 10 clutch pack, which is good. But what he needed to do, they make thick and thin of these steels right here, and what I'll do is I'll go to the shelf and I'll get a real thick steel right here. That way when I stick it down in here, it sticks above this land right here. That way it can never get up under it. See? But as long, was the problem here. Guys right here build their error right off the bat. I mean, multi-clutch that he put in here, this is stock clutch. That's a stock clutch. I'm shocked it ain't wavy, because a lot of the Powerglide clutches, stock clutches, were wavy to cushion the shift. But, you know, we got that clutch, we got this style clutch. So we'll get all that straightened out for him. He's got a nice drum. The drum isn't wore with the sealing rings run or anything like that, so it looks really good there. Bushings wore, but we'll put new bushings and stuff in it like that, so we can straighten that up for him. Let's pull this sleeve. Now this thing here, even though it's got a billet case and stuff like that, it still has an internal scatter shield. That way if this drum ever blows up or anything in the Planetary, it keeps it inside the case and it doesn't come through the floorboard and hurt the driver or hurt anybody else in the stands or anybody standing around. So big upgrade right there. And the Dirty Bird has one just like it inside. Same, different style case, but the same protection. So, we're going to pull this outer ring gear off. Now these things usually whine pretty good anyway, especially if you got a turbo car or something real quiet. These things, so that ringing, you know, you'll hear them whine in neutral and stuff like that. It's pretty common. And then also being a straight cut gear, you get that whine too. So we're going to come in here, mainly look at these gears here on both sides, because this is where this little sun gear right here runs, down in here against those gears. So you want to look on both sides. You have this little bearing that sets in here like that. Or excuse me, let me flip it. Actually sets like, it sets just like that. I have to set it, I set it down in here like that, so sorry.
Yeah.
It sets in there. So just look at it all, make sure it looks good there. Let's get down in here and look at the lower clutches and see what we got so much wobbling going on down in here. Let's get this clutch pack out here. You can see here, Teresa. Now this is your lower clutch assembly here. This thing's got a lot of play in it. Let me grab an air blower real quick and an air hose, and I'll try to.
Air hose.
Shh. Yep, I got an air hose right here. I'm going to look at this travel of this low clutch right here real quick. Now you can see here that clutch right there. Now let me blow in it real quick just to. grab one of my rubber tips really quick too. Actually, here's a brand new bar. Okay guys, you see this clutch right here? Clutches and steels. Well, I can blow in here and move that piston. Do you see that right there? Well, I can see what my clearance is on that clutch by doing that. I'll do the 4L60Es that way, all that type of stuff. That way I know exactly what my clutch clearances are. See how many clutches we got down in here. 2, 3, 4, 5. We got a 5 clutch in here. We got a big, well, let's see here. I was trying to see if I could get any more in here because I like to get 7 in here. It's got a really tall piston. I'll go back in the trailer and see if I can find a shorter piston right here. And then I can at least get one more clutch in here. We want at least 6 clutches in this drum, or 7, you know, turbo car. So, but they do make different heights of these pistons right here depending on what vehicle the Powerglide come out of. So, and this tranny will take a stock case. So, but this clutch here is your trans brake clutch one. This is the one that comes off and on when you bump in. And you definitely want this clutch really strong. You can see here it's got different styles. You got a red clutch, a brown clutch. So somebody just tried to piece it together. This bushing right here has got a ton of wear in it. It's almost knocked plumb out. It's really thin. That's why we got a lot of play. The shaft is wobbling and stuff like that. So we'll get this thing all straightened up. He's going to be excited that it ain't destroyed. It don't need planets and all kinds of money. But we're going to be getting it right back to him really quick. So we'll get parts coming overnight, have him in the morning. He's going to be excited. Y'all have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. Push that button. Teresa, I want to thank you for coming in and helping us. Thank you, baby. Y'all have a wonderful day.